Hello, this is Ashley Norris, and this is my video on the technology that I use in my classroom for the Module 5 for ALTC 802. So first I'd like to talk about something that I use all the time, every day, and something that is consistent for my students as well, is among the Google suite, the Google Classroom, which is fantastic. It is an awesome way of communication and all the capabilities. I'm sure I'm not using it to its full potential, which next year we will be one-to-one with Google Chromebooks, so I'm sure I will learn some more. But so far, especially being my first year teaching, I absolutely love this bit of technology. Something that I have learned a capability of it that I'm starting to use is this digital platform that it is, but the student-led discussion board. So this is a way that students can interact with one another. Again, it's kind of like an online classroom type of deal, but students can post a comment or a question, other students can answer them, and not only is it a way for them to communicate and kind of get some clarification from one another, I can also chime in if I have to, but it's an informal way for me to assess how their thought process is in this and for me to see where the gaps are. So that's one feature that I've learned recently that it's capable of doing, so that's what I will be doing. But how I've been using it, it's something that helps enhance just the traditional classroom atmosphere. So yes, we have class and we have seat time and all of that, but it is something for me to reemphasize what I've been talking about. So any communication that I give them is posted to there, so those students that are there, they can always go back and see what it was if they, maybe don't remember something. So everything that I do, the activities we do every day, my lecture notes, everything is posted to Classroom. So if they're there, they can recheck themselves, and it's also great if they're not there. So if they are absent for whatever reason, especially with this springtime, a lot of spring sports, kids are kind of in and out of the classroom quite a bit. So there's no question, and that kind of closes those gaps in what could be being learned. So it's a multifaceted way of instruction that has been very, very useful. It also helps with better communication, not just between me and my students, so it takes the guesswork out of time frames and project expectations. Everything is posted, so if they lose their handout that I give them, they can go back to Classroom and look it up. So just like most of us in the workplace, I'm coming from the private sector, we have some sort of intranet or something that we can always go back and look up information, and this is a way for students to do that as well. And it's fast and convenient for students and parents as well. I've had a lot of parents that join my classroom, so if they have a child that we're working with that might be struggling with it, they have that information at their fingertips through an app, so they can use that anytime. So it's just a great tool. There's also bits of technology that I can post to it as well. So it helps me during my presentations. Something else that I use, and I'm sure a lot of people talk to this, but there's a lot of times, especially with chemistry, that lecture is inescapable, but there's ways that we can enhance the experience. And what we can do is use different presentation tools like Google Slides, this Prezi that I'm using, which is absolutely fantastic. I love it and will be using it more in my classroom as well. Also in my class I have a Promethean board, so there's different things that I can use with the Promethean board platform, writing on it and different things. Something else I've been recently introduced to is this Pear Deck, and it is a add-on to the Google Slides, but it's more interactive. Now I can't really use it right now because we're not one-to-one just yet, but once we become one-to-one, I will be using this Pear Deck platform for Google Slides, that it creates a much more interactive activities for the students to take part in. So I'm really excited to be using that because as we go through the different slides, there's built-in activities that they have their devices and they can answer questions right as we're going along in lecture. So it's very immediate that I can see what's going on there. So that's very exciting. So enhancing the presentation, and then another thing that I use a lot is YouTube. So it helps me with my instruction just to learn different ways and how to describe something, and this has been especially great being my first year teaching, but also for students too. A lot of the videos that I use, if they go right along with what I'm talking about in class, I post them to my classroom. So if it wasn't enough just hearing me explain it, students can log back in on their Google Classroom and look at these videos that I post as well. And sometimes I do just to supplement them. I might not necessarily use the video, but I think it helps to re-emphasize or re-explain it in a slightly different way. So that helps students, and especially students that happen to be absent for whatever reason. They can go online, go to their classroom, go to these videos that I post, and helps with the instruction that way. So another thing that the technology can help with is assessments and reviews. So I can do some informal assessments as well as give them some more practice with these two different websites I use just to kind of, I use both of them just so that there's a change and something different, but I've really been loving this Quizlet here. So Quizlet has a lot of activities to choose from. I build my own flashcards, and keep in mind how you have to do some research with this to know how these different games are going to be set up for the students to use, so that it makes sense as they're going through these games, but they can go through individually. There's flashcards, these games, and these ways to create their own if they want to. I can also do a team setting if I can rent the laptop cart. We do Quizlet.live, in which it is very much a team interactive way of doing the activities that they have to communicate with one another to find out the answers. So what's great about this is it gives them practice, and it automatically gives me some feedback on commonly missed questions or how students are doing. I can also share the link to the Quizlet on my Google Classroom, again, which is why I love Classroom so much. Kahoot is also another really good one. It's just a different type of activity, so students can go on individually and look at it again through an app on their phone, because we're not one-to-one yet, but they do use their phones quite a bit, and I figure if they're going to be using their phones, they might as well be productive with it. So I can share with a link to the Kahoots that I make on my classroom as well that they can go in and look at. So in a nutshell, I know this is kind of a long video, I see, but there's just so many possibilities, and they're endless. So I'm very much looking forward to us going forward with the one-to-one initiative next year and seeing all the other capabilities that we can use technology for to enhance instruction and help make the subject matter more relevant. Now in the chemistry setting, again, I still have a lot of teacher talk that I have to do and explaining some complex concepts, and we also have to do those hands-on labs, but even then we have some new technology available even in the lab that we're getting a Bluetooth temperature setting thing that feeds it to their Chromebook, and it's just going to be fantastic, and I have a lot to learn about that still. But just the technology that's available now is just amazing. So I'm very excited about what's to come, and I use several things, obviously, and I'm just kind of mentioning a few of them that I've used so far this year. But thank you for watching, and hope you have a great weekend. Bye.